Just some awful news coming out of Manhattan this week.
You are Locked On Kansas State, your daily podcast on the Kansas State Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into this Sunday bonus edition of Locked On Kansas State. I'm Christian Rauh. He's Jon Grove of GoPowerCat.com, and unfortunately, we have to bring you bad news on today's episode. John Pastore out for the season. Collin Klein reported it earlier this week. Here's the full quote. He said, quote, "A couple days ago, we just got the confirmation with John Pastore. We have a season-ending lower injury, incredibly unfortunate, very freak in nature, out of really anyone's control. Unfortunate that John Pastore, obviously preseason Big 12 player, is going to be out for the rest of the season. He was supposed to be the anchor of this offense, John. He was supposed to be one of the most important players on this team. So this is a huge hit. We'll talk about John Pastore first. This is not good.
Yeah, so to be completely honest, I was sent a sign earlier this week that kind of clued me on the news that came out, and it wasn't anything from a specific outlet or anything like that, but it was a sign coming from the gaming gods in a way. I got on mistakes, played a little college football 27, and I'm right now in my K-State dynasty. We're playing UCLA in the playoffs, and they're in the highest difficulty. But the biggest issue was my offensive line not giving Avery a whole lot of time to throw the football, especially on the left edge. And poor John Pastore was having issues. I was screaming at my TV, John, what are you doing, man? I thought he was having a really rough day, or those at EA Sports hated his guts and didn't give him enough ratings to mirror what he did last season. But it all adds up. It wasn't that John wasn't having a bad day. He was having a bad leg. He was trying to be a one-leg man in a butt-kicking contest. And it's hard to win those type of contests when you have just one leg, which led me to more of the news that it's not that I didn't expect, but it was like, okay, I can't rule this out as a possibility. We got the notice. Kind of, it was either before or after the open practice. But the fact that we didn't see Pastore or George Fitzpatrick playing whatsoever, more so we knew about the George Fitzpatrick stuff, but the fact that we didn't see John Pastore out on the field taking several practice reps, it did kind of give us a sign, and it's very gruesome. It's a very gruesome reality for sure. And Pastore got that opportunity to play, mostly in part he was going to play. He was the one who stepped up last year, did a pretty good job, and now he's out. I know Collin Klein's mentioned 3 names, and I know we'll get to that at some point, but it's a freak of nature accident, and I just feel awful for him for sure.
Yeah, it's not great. Now, obviously, there's going to be another rotating shift around the offensive line. You know, the fact that he called it a freak injury, obviously, I know it doesn't make it feel any better, but it's unfortunate because he's worked so hard to do what he needs to do. I feel for him. There's no doubt about it. And, you know, I feel like he's got NFL pedigree. I feel like he still has the opportunity to play on Sundays. And who knows if he has an opportunity to come back and play with this new 5 for 5? Is he grandfathered in? Does he get some kind of medical waiver? Like, that's yet to be determined. Like, who knows? We probably won't learn about that until this upcoming offseason, if he even wants to, because of all the changing things happening with college athletics. So something to keep in mind there. But as of right now, it's potentially could be the end of his college career because of some of this 5 for 5 stuff. George Fitzpatrick also ruled out for the rest of the season. Collin Klein reported this one. This one's not as a surprise compared to John Pastore. He was out all last year as well. Had the opportunity to come back. Unfortunately, just couldn't meet some medical markers, some milestones. And according to Collin Klein, it was in the best interest to just try to recycle again and take the season off. And that's another unfortunate thing. I mean, remember back 2 years ago at the beginning of last year, Chris Klieman at Big 12 Media Days stated he was winning the left tackle position and then unfortunately had a medical incident and just couldn't get back on the field. Now that's 2 seasons in a row. Now, Collin Klein did say that there's possibly football still ahead of him. So it's something to keep in mind. But 2 potentially, I mean, if you go back to last season, these are potentially your tackles. And now you're guaranteed that they're not your tackles in 2026.
Yeah, and 2 years in a row now, K-State will not have its starting left tackle hitting into the season, a starting guy, which is quite dampen for sure. But like I said, Pastore got that opportunity because Fitzpatrick was injured as well, and he really stepped up when it mattered most, and he got a big opportunity. But you mentioned about the medical red shirt as far as where they're at in their careers. It's a tough realization, but the tough reality is that with 5-5, there are no more red shirts. There's no more, oh, you can play 4 games and then red shirt. There's none of that anymore. It's very clearly 5-for-5 now. And there are only a handful of exceptions. You either have to be serving in the military, or serving on a mission like Jay Clifton did a few years back, um, or your eligibility gets frozen because of pregnancy. That's it. So, um, I'm never ruling out hiring a lawyer as well, um, taking it to court, and then getting into that kind of mess as well for an injunction or whatever. But the realization is for John Pastore and George Fitzpatrick, their careers are over, and they were 2 of the 3 linemen on this team, along with Michael Capria. Where on their names, it said 5th-year players, so as well. So that's where they are, and despite their health issues, their surgeries, that's just where they stand. And again, and it kind of hurts me as well, being a Denver guy, looking at several of these Colorado prospects. It kind of hurts seeing that they're not going to be in purple this year.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, who replaces them? Who can fill in the spots at the tackle positions? That's what's all next right here. Locked On Kansas State. Hey, but first, this episode of Locked On Kansas State is brought to you by our friends at Odoo. Running a business shouldn't feel like it's trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales to accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place. Odoo is the one platform to manage, grow, and scale your businesses. The best organizations know that success isn't about talent. It's about having everyone work towards the same goal. And that's true in sports, just like it is in business. We're talking about some unfortunate events happening for Kansas State on this episode right there. You have to learn to flex, to adapt, to get successful. Best organizations know how to do that. Great organizations win because organizations matter, operations matter. And that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. This bonus episode also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel's giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick on who you think will hit a home run in the next game. And if you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers, another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every day has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. Is it a Kansas City Royal hitting a home run? Maybe a Colorado Rocky? Maybe a Tampa Bay Ray? I've been following those lately, and they've been hitting a lot of home runs. Liam Hicks looking really good. Check that out. You can do that if you're ready to play your game today. Join all the action on FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers. Make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel. It's the official partner of the MLB. All right, final few minutes here on this bonus episode, Locked On Kansas State. John Grove of GoPowerCat.com joined me for this conversation. Pastore out, Fitzpatrick out. So who will take over the spots at the offensive line? Obviously, there's still a ton to be answered. Tanner Morley has been injured and been on and off the practice field, but we didn't hear any news about him being season ending. So hopefully he can get back on the field as early as week 1. There's been obviously some injury news surrounding him, but nothing was really mentioned. So that's a good news. No news is good news in this case. Klein specifically mentioned 3 players, though, when he talked about John Pastore really popping up and being replacing of him. And to be honest, I don't know if they expected Fitzpatrick to be ready, so I don't know if you have to truly do any type of flexing for him. but the Pastore thing obviously is a big deal. Ryan Howard, Tyler Johnson, the transfer from Auburn, and true freshman Oliver Miller in the mix there. Some interesting names, John, who could replace John Pastore in this tackle position.
Yeah, no, they are some intriguing names, and certainly one, Ryan Howard. I'm a little surprised he hasn't gotten the amount of snaps he has yet. He's the brother of Will Howard, for those who've been living under a rock. But he is, but I'd probably expect him to start opposite of Gus Hawkins. That may be a stretch, but he's got some prospect pedigree. He was a top 100 offensive lineman, offensive tackle in the class. He had Power 5 offers from West Virginia, Maryland, and Syracuse. And then he shut down that recruitment to go to K-State. He's a big man. Originally thought to be a guard in college, but his athleticism has improved tremendously, making him a little more versatile. If he's given a shot in the early going, he could be a candidate to run with that opportunity. And then you also mentioned Tyler Johnson. He could be the biggest wild card for this K-State offensive line room. I think Auburn failed to establish an offensive identity to give him a true role. He was mostly a special teams type of guy. It appears he will have the opportunity to win a job now in Manhattan. It is very possible. He's a top 40 offensive lineman out of high school, held Power 5 offers, including Tech and Baylor. If there's a favorite to jog out onto the field with the first unit at 2026 at left tackle, I'd probably have to guess it's going to be Tyler Johnson right now, which would be where I'd lean towards as well. But I don't think there's anybody that's received the most amount of hype than Oliver Miller. Because I think had it not been for Lincoln Cure last season, I think Oliver Miller may have taken the kick as the most talked about true freshman in several years. He's starting to really become a crown jewel for K-State, and I think he has a big opportunity to start in week 1 against Nichols. And I think you can most certainly expect him to jump onto the scene and replace an all-conference left tackle, which could be a tall task. And typically the adjustment period's a little longer for freshman tackles, but I think it's a big opportunity for sure. So he rattled off 3 names there, in which, yes, it's going to be extremely difficult to replace, but there's a lot of untapped potential there for sure.
All right, so a lot of things to obviously break into when we're talking about this offensive line and things like that over the next couple days. We're going to break into the offense, the defense, and special teams over the next few episodes here on Locked On Kansas State. But obviously, this is huge. That losing John Pastore for the season, this is something that might change win-loss totals, might change our friends at FanDuel's win-loss totals with Kansas State 8.5. Maybe they drop down a win. We'll see if any of that stuff happens. I mean, this truly is a big impact for Kansas State. We'll see if they can overcome and adapt to that. Go check out Jon Grove at gopowercat.com, all that good stuff. Check out the crew. Come on back over here, Locked On Kansas State. We'll have plenty of stuff for you this week. Please like the video. Please subscribe. This was a bonus episode of Locked On Kansas State.